Hello, my name is Joshua Fish, and today I'm going to show you how to edit and export your photo video using iMovie on a Mac running OS Catalina in 2020. Before we do anything else, the first thing I highly recommend doing is making sure all the files that you plan on including in your video are located in one place. So if we go down to the bottom toolbar, or dock, and select the Finder icon, this will open up potential places where all of our files might be located. I have all my files on my Joshua Fish drive, so if we select it in the left sidebar here, you can see I have the audio that I've recorded, the music I plan to use, and the photos I want to show in my video, all here in one place. Keeping your files all together isn't necessary, but can definitely be helpful, especially if you plan on coming back and editing your project at a later date. So once we've made sure all our files are together, we can open up iMovie by moving down to the dock and clicking on the rocket ship icon labeled Launchpad. This will open a menu containing many of your computer's applications. Search until you find an icon depicting a purple star with a white camcorder labeled iMovie, and click it. Once iMovie has opened, click on the large plus icon to create a new project and select Movie. This is a blank iMovie project containing the media you plan on using, a timeline to show you how your media is being organized within your project, and a preview window displaying how your final video will look. The first thing we want to do is import our photos and audio files, so click on the drop-down arrow to import your files. This will open up a pop-out window similar to the Finder window we looked at earlier that shows the location of our files. Navigate over to the left sidebar and select the location of your files. If you want to import one file, click it, then click Import Selected. If you want to select multiple files in order, click a file, hold Shift on your keyboard, and select another file to choose all the ones in between. And if you want to select multiple files that are not in order, click a file, hold the Command key on your keyboard, and select the other files you want to choose. However, since we want all the files listed here, without clicking anything, select Import All in the bottom right corner. As you can see, all the files have been added to our project's available media. Unless you want to jump right into showing photos, the first thing you'll want to do is add a title card. If we move to the top of our media window, you'll see the word Titles. Click it, and we can now see all of the available title options within iMovie. Hover your mouse over some of the options to display a preview in the preview window. When you found a title you're happy with, click and drag it to the timeline below. Type your title in the text box, and your title card is good to go. Now go back to My Media at the top of the window so that we can add our content. The first thing I like to add is my audio recording, as it generally is what I let determine the length of my video. To add your audio recording, like how we added our title card, simply click and drag it to the timeline. To adjust where the audio will play, click and drag the green bar left or right along the timeline. One important thing to note here is that, in iMovie, some sort of content has to be playing at all times. So if we wanted to play our title card, wait a few seconds, and then start our audio, that won't be possible unless we fill that dead time with some sort of visual content. As you can see, the latest our audio file can start is right where our title card ends. The next thing we'll add is our music. Again, like our audio and title card, simply drag and drop the music file onto our timeline. Perfect. Now we'll add our images in the same way. Just click and drag and drop. If we move our mouse over the image in the timeline though, in the preview window, you'll notice how the image is zoomed in and panning. This is an effect called Ken Burns, and by default, every image you place on your timeline will have this effect applied to it. If you like this effect, great. If you don't though, it's not difficult to change the default settings. I'm not a big fan of Ken Burns because I want the entirety of my photo to be taken in at once, so I'm going to change my default settings. Simply go up to the menu bar, click on iMovie, then Preferences. In the pop-out window, click where it says Ken Burns and change it to Fit, so that the photos will fit evenly inside of your preview window. In the Preferences, you can also change the default length of how long your images will be shown by adjusting the duration. The default is set at 4 seconds, and personally, I think that's fine, so I'll leave that alone. You can adjust that to your own personal taste though. Once you're happy with your updated preferences, click the red button in the top left of the pop-out window to close it. If we hover over our image on the timeline, you'll see that the Ken Burn effect is still applied. To see our updated preferences come into play, we'll need to remove the image from our timeline by clicking it and pressing the delete key on our keyboard, then adding it again to our timeline. Now if we hover over the image, you can see that it fits nicely in the preview window. I'll go ahead and add the rest of my images by repeating the same dragging and dropping process. And there we go. You'll notice that my timeline appears to be more scrunched together now. This is just because I am zoomed out of the timeline. To adjust your timeline zoom, drag the slider next to the word Settings underneath the preview window. To preview our video, move your mouse to the leftmost side of the timeline and click to set our time indicator. Then press spacebar on your keyboard to start the preview. Hello, my name is Joshua Fish, and this is my photo series, Snapshots from Home. Press spacebar again to stop the preview. Hello, my name is Joshua Fish, and this is my photo series, Snapshots from Home. So, right now our video just cuts from one image to the next, and that's fine, but sometimes you might want a smoother transition instead. To add a transition, click up on the word Transitions at the top of the window. Again, hovering your mouse over the transitions will provide you a preview of their effect in the preview window. Personally, I will generally only stick to the first 4 transitions of cross dissolve, cross blur, fade to black, and fade to white, as they are the least dynamic and don't take away from my photos. For example, I'll use the cross dissolve transition in between every image. To add it, simply click and drag it in between your images. I'll go ahead and add a transition to all my images here. And on the last one, instead of a cross dissolve, I'll add a fade to black, as it is the last image on my timeline and it will transition into nothing. So now if you preview your video by pressing the spacebar key on your keyboard, you'll see that a transition has been added between every image. From home. Our video is looking pretty good so far, but I'm noticing something silly. Our music is way too long. Ideally, you'll be able to sync the number of images you have and their transition time to last the duration of your music, but if this is not the case, we can easily fix that. Simply move your mouse to the right side of the music clip. When you hover it on the edge like this, see how it changes from a normal pointer to double arrows with a line in between? If these arrows are present, you can click and drag to the left, and this will shorten your music. This double arrow technique works to shorten or lengthen images and title cards as well. Also, if we preview our video, hear how the music ended abruptly and awkwardly? To change that to a fade, move the mouse to the end of the music clip once more, but instead of looking for the double arrows with a line in between, look for 2 smaller opposite-facing triangles. When these are present, click and drag to the left to insert a fade. Now if we preview, the music fades out nicely. So there you go. We've successfully edited our video, and there's only one more step we need to take. We must export our video from iMovie to a video file so that it can be viewed on YouTube or uploaded to Google Drive or whatever you plan on doing with your photo video. To export, Simply go to the top right corner of the iMovie window and click on the upward pointing arrow icon labeled Share. Then choose File. Name the file in the pop-out window. Make sure the format is set on video and audio, the resolution is 1080p, and the quality is high, and click Next. Select where you want your video to be saved. I'll choose my Joshua Fish drive, and click Save. Depending on how long your video is, exporting might take a couple of minutes, but after a while you should get a notice from iMovie that reads Share Successful, and if we click Show, our video will be revealed in the location where we saved it, and if we double click on it and hit play. Hello, my name is Joshua Fish, and this is my photo series, Snapshots from Home. We can take pride in our amazing photo video. And that's it. You have successfully edited and exported a photo video using iMovie. Congratulations, and thanks for watching.